Welcome to Dream Small. I'm Jason.
And I'm Whitney.
In a world challenging you to chase big, we dare you to dream small.
We're a family of 8 who's fostered, adopted, and stumbled our way through learning that small, everyday choices can change lives.
Join us as we share stories and encouragement to help you live out your purpose. We're back for version 2, volume 2, part 2 of the reasons why the objections and hesitations that people make not to foster.
You just said excuses.
We have a fun insight into the world of Whitney and Jason.
Get ready for this.
Normal morning routines. I guess that's not. So I spend the time in the Word. I don't want to say every morning because I do miss one here or there. Very consistently, I get up and spend 30, 45 minutes at our dining room table, studying the Bible, praying, drinking coffee, all the things. Well, the other morning, Whitney came home from the gym and kind of gave me that look and said, "Hey, we got 10 minutes. We got time for a quickie upstairs."
It was quiet. No one was awake yet.
And I'll just say the opportunity for husband and wife time for us is limited due to the chaos.
Yeah.
We have to be very intentional, and Whitney was being very intentional. So, like any good husband, I do a backflip out of my chair and start to follow her upstairs. And so our stairs go up. At the very top, there's a bedroom door on the right. You kind of do a 180 turn to go back, and there's another bedroom door. And the doors started popping open, and kids starting there poking their heads out like the whack-a-mole game at the county fair.
Not even kidding. All 3 bedroom doors.
It was a cartoon. You couldn't have people writing sitcoms couldn't have written that and have people believe that that's what actually happened.
Yeah. So we put in our best happy face and said, "Good morning."
So good to see you, kids. Thank you. Great joy. Great joy, all these kids. I'm sure that's not unique to foster care, I don't think. I think anybody with a larger family or even toddler-age kids have probably experienced something to that nature, I would bet.
So we're back again to cover more hesitations, objections, or, as Jason says, excuses to fostering. If you haven't listened to part 1, I highly recommend you go back to episode 5, start there, and then come back to this episode. When we were first exploring the call to foster, I was fortunate enough to find someone who was experienced and willing to take the time to sit down with me at a local coffee shop and talk with me through all of my questions, fears, and doubts. If you don't have that person in your life, I'm here to volunteer myself. It's you and me in that coffee shop right now, and Jason too. If we don't cover your concerns, please email me at dreamsmallpodcast@gmail.com or find us on social media with the same handle.
So we're bringing you part 2 of Objections to foster care.
Ooh, and this is a great segue, even with that conversation, because the first one that we have is, what if it costs too much? Obviously, it comes with a cost, right? It does cost money. It costs comfort. It costs quality time with your spouse. It costs time with the rest of your family. Go on, Jason.
How many nights since we became foster parents have you spent up at Riley Hospital with a child? 90?
A lot.
60?
A lot. Away from everyone
Away
else.
from everybody. Just the other you will sacrifice. It costs. It costs personally.
Sleep. It costs a lot of
sleep. Yeah. Lots of sleep, because we decided that what was going to be successful for us was to keep our birth order intact with our kiddos. So we've just been reloading babies every couple years. And
we tried older kids. We have tried it more than once because I really thought God was calling us to it. But we just keep going back to what works is younger kids.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, the reason it works so well is Whitney gets this superpower when we have a baby where she requires minimal sleep. I don't know if any other moms have done that, but she does it, and it's amazing because I can deal with about everything, but not lack of sleep. When I start having lack of sleep is when things don't go well.
Rawr.
Yeah, it's not good.
So yes, it does cost. It costs a lot. And I don't know if this objection is really referring to money, but I mean, you get reimbursed, not great, but the state does help out. I mean, it's not exactly a job, right? Like people that say, oh, they foster for the money, those people are very ignorant because no.
I can tell you right now, if we did not foster with the income we would be making, we would be better off financially to not be fostering.
Yeah.
That 20 extra bucks a day is helpful. Don't get me wrong. It's helpful. It definitely is helpful, but it's not retiring us.
Right. I think the pay, I mean, it depends on the child and the level of need. I think it ranges now from like 24 to 65 maybe dollars a day. But please pray tell, what other job where you work 24 hours a day do you make $65 a day and you call it good, right?
It's less than $3 an hour.
I mean, come on, guys. So,
and here's another thing: where we live, people take fall vacation trips. We get
fall break.
Fall break. Kids get a fall break. They take a winter break trip. They take a spring break, and they take a summer vacation. All of that costs money, and people don't generally balk at that.
True.
That's celebrated. Why not, instead of investing in a I was going to say a field trip.
A big trip.
Why not investing in a vacation, invest in a kid?
Yeah. Man, good quote. I like that. Did you prepare that?
No, I can say that with integrity. Look,
I like it.
Yeah, no.
I like it.
I'm good. What can I say?
All right.
What if my spouse isn't on board? If this is true, that's a big one.
Yeah. You might have to rethink what foster care might look like for you if your spouse is not on board. It might be coming alongside a foster family and serving them. It might be bringing meals, joining a care community if you have those available to you. You just might have to look at other options. You can't drag someone into foster care. You can't.
Yeah, don't do that. Like, don't be the spouse that's like, we're being foster parents. Your family gets interviewed prior to. So if they're not on board, they're not going to license you. Don't waste your time.
And they actually talk to you separate. So there's no chance. I mean, you can lie, but.
I was thinking about joking about Whitney beating me when they were interviewing me, but I couldn't tell if the person had a sense of humor or not.
Great.
So I refrained.
Good grief. But I would say if you feel very called to foster and your spouse doesn't, pray for it. Pray for them.
Talk with entrusted friends who are in the foster community or somebody you know that has fostered, just to build trust, because it's scary. If you've never considered it, like we're going through them, it's a scary thing.
Yeah, have conversations. And I would say hopefully your spouse will be on board, walk alongside a foster family with you, because that's either going to open their eyes and make them interested or solidify their no. But either way, I think it will help them kind of figure out where they fall within that calling. For
sure. You can't do it on your own. You cannot go solo in the foster care world if you're married.
That's why Jason's going to live forever.
It's just not a thing. All right, next one. What if I don't have enough time or energy? Yes. Yes. Confirmed. We never have enough time or energy. I think everybody...
I mean, does anyone in this world right now really feel that they have enough time or energy? If you do, come hang out with us.
Let us know your secret and sacrifice some of your sleep for ours.
Just move in. Just visit for a day.
Yeah, we got some energy and lack of sleep for you. If you're going to wait around till you feel rested to become a parent or a foster parent, you might as well just stay on the couch till Jesus comes back.
I love that you wrote that parenting is basically just creative exhaustion.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
It's just, when can I nap? When can I go to bed?
Guys, draw a picture of Daddy with his eyes closed while Daddy takes a 30-minute nap.
And that is obviously not unique to fostering. There's some added stress with a lot of the trauma that comes with foster parenting, but anybody with multiple kids knows you're going to be tired. And I'm going to tell you guys a pet peeve of mine. Maybe it's fair, maybe it's not. So when I
stop. Okay, just go.
When I hear a single person without kids complain about being tired, I'm like, that's your choice. You made that. There's nothing in the world that made you be tired.
Don't be coming to Jason for empathy.
Not when it comes to sleep. No, not when it comes to sleep. If you're tired by being single and not having kids, you made a choice, a dumb choice, and I do not feel sorry for you.
I will tell you, when it comes to thinking about energy specifically, I will, at least for me personally, the emotional toll of foster care is way more draining on my energy than any physical toll. I could do the lack of sleep. I could do the crazy behaviors. I could do the chaos. The emotional draw sucks the life out of me.
You get emotionally plugged in really quick.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I love big and I feel big and I take on those feelings for everyone I love and whoo, it drains you.
Yeah, you definitely, the chaos and all that, that's what drives me crazy. I think I'm your standard dad when it comes to that.
Yeah. The next one, what if I can't connect with the child? I would say that relationships take time. Connection doesn't always happen right away. We have had children. We still have children in our care. Trust takes time, a long time. And you think you get there, and then the next day it's like it never even happened. So you need to have patience with that. Connecting with a newborn is way different than connecting with an older child. And there are ways to connect, but it has to be very intentional.
I mean, we have done typically younger kids, so we're probably not the best for this category. But even the littles, it takes time to connect. Mm-hmm. They can't articulate it. They don't understand it fully, but they have trust issues and they've been through trauma, and they share that. They burden that.
Yeah. I mean, we've had babies that had to learn that when you cry, an adult will come and help you or feed you or rock you to sleep. We've had babies that stopped crying because they never had needs met from crying. So building that connection and kind of breaking down those walls, it takes time.
Yeah, I mean, there is absolutely a 100% chance you will get a child you can't connect with. That's okay. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not going to immediately fall in love with every kid you get in your house. I can tell you, I've had people say to me, "Oh man, doesn't your heart break every time one of them leaves?" No. The answer is no.
Most of the time, but there's been some situations where it was best, right?
It was best
and we
that
weren't
they left,
heartbroken.
and I was not
yeah.
heartbroken. They were going to a good situation. I was not heartbroken that they were going home. And
yeah.
Remember, loving is an action. It's not a feeling. You're going to love these kids. You're fighting for these kids. You're not going to immediately snuggle up and sing Kumbaya and just be the best of friends. That's just not how it works. Maybe the movies or books or whatever will portray it that way. That's just not how it happens in real life.
Nothing's ever that pretty and perfect, is it?
Next one. What if I'm too old or too young?
Well, I would say you're not. We've actually had the pleasure of meeting and knowing people from the whole range. I have known multiple single women in their 20s who fostered and adopted, young 20s, and they still have those kids. Some of them have gotten married since, some of them haven't. The other end of the spectrum, we've known couples in their 70s, currently in their 70s, who are fostering twin babies.
That makes me want to throw up. Because people,
Me too.
people ask Whitney and I, like, hey, when are you going to stop taking babies? And we're like, oh, probably fairly soon.
Yeah.
And then we get introduced to this couple in their 70s that just took in infant twins.
Yeah.
Twins.
So I say all that to say I would not say you're too young or you're too old. If you feel called to do it, or if you feel called to serve in this world, give it a try.
Just say yes. Take that first step. You don't have to have the final equation figured out, the final whatever it is. Take that step and God will walk with you through that.
Amen.
What if the system is too broken?
Guess what?
You go first. Yeah, you go first on this one.
It is. Harsh reality. The system is very broken. It's a system run by people who are broken. It is a system who, I don't even want to get into it. But the system is broken. So just take that what if out of there. It's a fact. It's a statement. The system is broken. But the kids in the system are not broken. And maybe the only thing more broken than the system is when good people choose to stay out of it out of fear.
Yeah, the system, it'll drive you nuts. But we need integritous, passionate people that are in the system to help make it better.
Amen.
We need that. So, yes, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The system's completely broken. There's broken people dealing with heartbreaking situations. Yes, it is broken. So what? Deal with it. Suck it up, buttercup. Get involved. Love a kid.
And you can be a light in the system. You know, we said early on that foster care became our ministry. We weren't planning on that. We were just planning on fostering, helping out some kids, calling it a day. But it became a ministry because so many people come into our home. So many people are craving positive interaction and encouragement and light and love. And we get the opportunity to do that. And yeah, sometimes it gets really annoying that there's people in and out of our house all the time. But it's also such a good opportunity to love people.
And I wish I could shed a light and share a sneak video of Whitney loving on caseworkers and therapists and other caseworkers and whoever's, because she does an exceptional job of that. And you can tell when people come into our home, they enjoy being here and spending time with Whitney. Those of you who know Whitney know what I'm talking about.
Or when caseworkers come expecting me and they get Jason.
They may or may not be fairly disappointed when they're stuck with me. Yeah, it's like, oh. You?
It's like when the kids are stuck with dad. Where's mom?
Where's mom? Yeah. No, yeah. The caseworker comes in. Where's mom? Where's mom? Yeah. Lucky. Yay. Yay.
Anyway.
Next objection. What if the child does not want to be here? I mean, that would be pretty logical, don't you think, to starting off with, especially if an older kid. Why would they want to be in a stranger's home?
Think about it. They just got ripped away from everything that they know. Whether or not their parents were good to them or not, they have loyalty there. All of their stuff, their pets, their bed, their personal belongings. Most kids come with nothing.
Their comfort.
Yeah.
What they feel safe with, yes.
They're not going to want to be at your house.
I mean, logically, people who aren't plugged in will say, well, why would that kid feel attached to that person? Because that person mistreated that kid so poorly. I don't know why. It doesn't typically work that way. They love their mom or dad still.
It's still their parent, right? It's what they've known. You can't expect that a child's going to want to be at your house. What you can do is love them and give them space and give them food, because food helps. Take them out. What's your favorite fast food restaurant?
Food always helps.
You want Takis? Cool. I hate Takis. And all of a sudden, everyone in my house likes Takis. Ew.
So the Taki backstory, we had a foster kiddo eat apparently a full bucket of Takis and then get sick that night and puke. Were they the blue ones, the red ones?
It was red everywhere.
Or red Takis all over her bed.
It was nasty.
All over. And she was one of those kids that apparently didn't sense she was going to be puking, so she just puked like all over her bed. And me and Whitney vowed no Takis ever again. I don't know how it happened, but all of a sudden, all the kids in our house want Takis now. All of them, except the baby. She would probably eat Takis.
Just today, I broke down and bought a case from Sam's Club, and it killed a little part of me, spending $20 on Takis, which I vowed would never be in my home again.
It's hilarious.
Ew.
God has a sense of humor.
Ha ha.
But back to the kiddos being in your home. Give it time. They'll warm up to you. You might not ever be cozy like we talked about buddy with them, but they will absolutely warm up to you. Once you build that trust, just give it time.
Yes. It's all about that trust and love and connection.
So next objection. What if we face judgment or lack of support? I had never thought about people judging us as foster parents.
You also don't really care about what people think about you.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my point. I've never considered people judging me.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted, because a couple of my kiddos are black, I'm white. I've kind of purposely gone to the store with them and hope somebody says something crazy to me so I can confront them. Nicely, of course. But another thing that happens is when a big old ogre-looking dude is walking around with a cute little black girl, people will come up to you and say, "Oh, she's so cute." I mean, she is so cute.
Yeah.
But I think that also adds, the ogreness adds to it, I believe. Her cuteness. It seems to be
It's
that
you.
way.
It's your ogreness that's cute. Yes.
No, not my ogreness. I mean
Okay.
the contrast.
I was like,
between-
are you fishing right now?
No. I know who I am. The contrast between ogre and cute kid, I think,
Okay.
is the difference.
Okay, fair.
I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be let down at some point in your foster journey by the people you thought would support you.
Yeah. You'll also find your people. You might be let down. Other people are going to step up in ways that you never envisioned or imagined. And you will find your people and a tribe who gets it and who wants to wrap around you. And yeah, the hurt, I can tell you, I've had that hurt. I've experienced that hurt where I thought people would be there and they weren't. It stinks. And it's just one of those disappointments in life. I think I shared it before. It just really goes back to you don't know what you don't know. And there's a lot of people, and that's why I love the opportunity to share our experiences on this podcast, because if you haven't been in the world of foster care, you don't know, right? You don't know how to support people. You don't know what to say. And that's okay. And I think people who are fostering also have to have a little bit of grace and willingness to educate other people.
That's one of the reasons why we're vocal about it, is a lot of foster parents do it graciously, quietly, and just change the world one kid at a time. We're being vocal about it because we know people want to help, but they don't know how to help. They think whatever they can offer is so insignificant, it's not going to be impactful. And that is a myth. We had a care community at one point come over. They were young married couples that were, most of them were pre-kids, I believe, if I remember right.
Yeah.
They came over and just picked up our yard, picked up sticks, did leaves, and I can't tell you how incredibly helpful that was.
Yeah. That was during COVID when we couldn't even meet with them face to face. So they just said, we're going to come over and do like spring cleaning in your yard.
Yeah, it was incredible. I was listening to something the other day where a bunch of old ladies in Houston get together and they have a list of foster families in the Houston area and they just write them letters of encouragement. I remember somebody came by the house once with you and just prayed with you.
Yeah.
And that was one of the best. You went on and on about how incredible that was.
Well, it was such a God timing. Everyone was napping. It was a weekday afternoon. I remember being on our bed crying, thinking, I can't do this anymore. This is awful. It's hard. It's lonely. The doorbell rang and I didn't want to answer it. I wanted to stay on the bed, taking my quiet time to myself to sit there and have a little woe is me party. But I decided to go down and answer it. And it was a woman I know through church who I wasn't even super close with. She said that she was at the grocery store and God prompted her to pick up a little bouquet of flowers for me. So she handed me these flowers and she said, can I pray with you? And that 5 minutes, her showing up at 2 p.m. on a random Wednesday on my front porch at the exact moment that I needed that encouragement. Still, this was 8 years ago, and it's still something I think about. It meant the world to me. Her little act of obedience, God told her to go, and she went. Yeah. And it changed everything for me that day.
Yeah, that was incredible how all that worked out. Find foster families to support. If lack of support is a real thing that can happen, and Whit knows the stats, but 50% of foster families don't go beyond one placement because of lack of support or quit within the first year.
They quit within the first year.
So go find foster families to support. Do you know how to do an oil change on a car? Can you clean a bedroom? Can you, I don't know, whatever it is, you know what you're good at. Go offer to do something. Take them dinner.
Yeah, I mean, men or women who are good at handyman type jobs, help patch holes in the wall. There are kids that do massive damage and families who just don't have the time or the resources to repair it.
Yeah.
There are ways that we can be serving and jumping in and helping. There, like, whatever gift God has given you to do, you can turn that gift into a way to bless other people.
Don't think what you can offer is too insignificant. I promise you it is meaningful and it'll be helpful to a foster family. Foster families in general won't speak up and say, hey, we need help. Just go do it. Like, don't be like, hey, what can I do for you? Because honestly, a lot of times we're too exhausted to think through and organize and coordinate and discuss. Just go do it. So what if the meal's
True.
not perfect? Like, who cares if it's not exactly what they would want? That's fine. You're serving. That's fantastic.
Some of the best text messages I get will be randomly, "Hey, I'm bringing you dinner tonight. Does 5:00 work?"
Hey,
Ugh,
pizza's
what
on the way.
a blessing. Yeah, what a blessing. And I think any family would agree with me.
Yeah. I mean, it's more so with even foster parents. Okay. What if it changes everything?
It will. It will. And that's not something to be fearful of. It will change everything. I can tell you for us, it's changed everything. It's changed the look of our family, the size of our family, the capacity of our hearts,
It's taught
the
me
knowledge,
It's taught me things I would never have learned.
the experience. Yeah.
God has shown up in ways I would never expected him to show up, or he never would have been able to show up without being a foster parent.
He opened up doors for advocacy and connections.
Friendships.
Yeah. It will change everything. And a lot of that change is actually really good and for the better.
Yeah. The change is absolutely, I would say, one of the best parts of being a foster parent. Obviously, the kids are the best part in loving them, but the change it has made, how God has worked in my life. Going back to one of the other examples, people talk about not doing foster care because of the lack of capacity. What God's asking us to do to be foster parents isn't add another task on top of the list. He's asking us to rearrange the priorities in our lives so that we're doing some kingdom work, that we're doing things that matter for these kids. He's not asking you to do the things you're doing now and add foster care. He's saying, no, this is more important than the things you're doing now. Whitney and I probably have gone on a fifth of the number of trips we could have gone on had we not been foster care. 30% of the sleep we've lost. Who knows what other things we have quote unquote lost by being foster parents? Because we have rearranged our lives like foster parents have to do in order to survive, and it makes a huge difference. I mean, unfortunately, I think some people can look at us and feel like, oh, they're disconnected, they're not good friends. Well, not you so much, probably more so me. You're a good friend. Just look at us and be like, they're in their own little world, and that I would say that's probably pretty accurate.
Yeah, well said.
It'll change everything. What if I say yes and regret it? We've been pretty clear that there will absolutely be hard days where you're second guessing your decision to be a foster parent.
Yeah, but you don't know if you're going to regret it until you do it. So again, I feel like that's a really fear-based, not excuse, but objection or concern.
It's an excuse. I'll say it. It's an excuse.
Because yeah, you might regret it. I'm in the middle of doing a Whole30. What if I regret it? Okay. I do. I regret not eating ice cream every night, but it's still better for me not to, right?
I will tell you based on never mind. I was going to say something about gas and ice cream.
Oh,
and
stop
stuff,
it.
But I won't. So it's worked out for everybody. And I'll be honest, if you do it and whatever reason you feel like, oh my gosh, this is a huge mistake, you can say no.
Yeah.
If you have a foster kiddo, there are avenues to get that kiddo into another home that's a better fit for them. And
it's not a permanent commitment. Foster care is meant to be a temporary situation. It's not permanent. It's not adoption. But yeah, if it's too hard, if it's not the right fit, you get to put in a notice. You're not stuck. You don't have to be stuck. But the only way you'll know is if it's the right fit or not is if you try.
And you never know what seeds you're planting. You'll never know what imprint you may or may not have left. And obedience is rarely easy, but it's always worth it.
So, Jason, what if the child is another race than you?
Yeah, it was never a concern for Whitney or I. But we've had some conversations with folks along the way. So when you get interviewed to be a foster parent, if for whatever reason bringing in a child of a race that's different than yours would be a problem for that child, or you're uncomfortable with that for whatever reason, when you sign up and do the paperwork, it's weird, honestly. I was shocked that this was an option, but you can dictate the age, the sex, the color. You could probably tell them you want blondies or kids with brown hair or kids with blue eyes or 4 toes. You can dictate It's weird, but you can dictate 100% the type of kid you get in your home. Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry. The type,
Age range.
the
yeah.
age, what your kid looks like, you can almost dictate exactly what that kid will be.
Yeah, I remember when we were going through our licensing classes, they said, if you decide you want a red-haired 6-year-old boy with blue eyes, you can say that. You probably won't get calls for a really long time, but you can say that's what you want. If you want sibling sets, if you only want one child, if you want the age range of 0 to 3 or 14 to 18, you can say all of that. You might still get other phone calls because we absolutely have. But you can say that specifically if you think race is a concern. And honestly, I feel like this race topic could probably be a whole podcast in and of itself. So there's a lot we can say here, but I will say, just for the sake of keeping it condensed here, that there is a good chance that your foster children will not resemble you. That's not always the case. Someone near and dear to me adopted 2 girls out of foster care. It was their first placement ever, and it looks like they could be their children. Actually, it happened with another friend of ours, too, in Pennsylvania. So it's not to say it can't happen, but more likely than not, you will have children that don't look like you. And I think, personally, again, in my opinion, that that's a beautiful thing, because that's what heaven will look like. Nowhere does it say anywhere that families have to all be the same color.
No, it's been a neat experience fostering kids who are different colors than us and adopting kids who are different colors than us. We've learned a ton. You've learned how to do hair. You've met, I mean, some of your coolest stories revolve around Leah's hair.
Yeah.
And the women that have connected with you to help you.
And that man I met, I sat on a plane from Philadelphia to India a couple of years ago, a month before adopting Leah. We just started a conversation, and he was an African-American man. And I said to him, I said, hey, I'm adopting a little girl next month who's African-American. What would be your best advice for me? And he said, honor her heritage. And he went on and on. It was a 2.5-hour flight. It was one of the most meaningful conversations. You know, there are people in different communities who do look down upon interracial families. And you know what? Okay. You know, that's if that's how they feel, that's how they feel. But it has lent me personally so many beautiful opportunities to connect with and get to know people I would have never gotten to know otherwise.
One day, Whit took Leah to the store after swimming, and her hair was
awful.
Was a wreck.
I was a bad mom. I looked like a terrible white mom at that point.
It was a wreck. And a really sweet lady walked up to Whit. She was gracious. She was gentle.
Yeah, she was great. She said, is this your daughter? And I said, yes, it is. She said, well, are you open to some advice on her hair? And I said, absolutely. Give me what you got.
Yes, please. Yeah. Especially in our culture, the way so many things are charged. And it's a good question. But, I mean, I am incredibly grateful we've gotten to foster and adopt a couple little kids who have different skin color than ours. I think it's great. It's fun. Yeah. It just opens you up to so much other things, too. It makes you more sensitive to things that you probably wouldn't have been aware of had you not. And
that's biblical.
And let's be honest.
The dance moves.
Leah can dance a whole lot better than the rest of us, and she's teaching us how to have a little bit of rhythm.
Yes, she is. We try.
We are doing a case study of nature versus nurture, and there are 100% times when nature wins out with that young girl. And thankfully for her dancing and for her and for everybody, nature is winning.
Like I said, we could go on and on about this objection and this concern, and maybe we'll do a whole topic on race another time and invite some of our African-American friends as well so they can share their input. I would absolutely love that.
That would be a fun conversation.
It would be a great conversation. But for now, I think, for the objection part of it at least, if it's something you're not comfortable with, then don't do it. Definitely. If it's something you want to learn and grow and stretch yourself with, jump right in.
On to our last one of this 2-part series of objections.
How fun has this been?
It's been fun. We've made fun of some of you guys and your objections off the mic. I'm going to be real honest with you, but we get it. 17, it takes a special person or is a special calling. I'm going to tell you, it does not take a special person. It takes an obedient one.
Mic drop. How do you do a mic drop on a podcast?
Don't. These are cheap and they'll probably explode. I can tell you there is absolutely nothing special about Whitney or I. Well, let me rephrase that. Whitney is very special. There's nothing special about our skill set when it comes to being foster parents. We simply felt the call from God and we've responded in obedience.
Yeah, there's nothing special. Just everyday obedience. Waking up and choosing to love, choosing to say yes. That's why we said, a couple weeks ago, 2,000, whatever, 100, many days of yes. It's an obedient choice that we have to make every single day.
Take that step of obedience. Don't disqualify yourself based on why you think you're inadequate if God has called you to it. God's called you to it. He'll see you through. He's called all kinds of unqualified, inept people throughout the entire Bible.
Yeah, and I think, just kind of wrapping up and summing up the past 2 episodes, a lot of these objections are fear-based. And my advice is don't let fear have the final word. Let faith speak louder than that fear. Instead of asking, what if something goes wrong? Ask yourself, what if God shows up? Because I can tell you from experience, he will. He shows up every single time.
We're going to give you a call of action this week. Here's a couple ideas. Talk to someone who fosters. Find a local info session somewhere and get to learn more. Or just give God a bold prayer of, God, if you're calling me, I'll say yes, even if I'm scared. The small, faithful yeses change lives, including yours. Always be responsive to God's yes. Your yes, God will use in incredible ways. I want to share Romans 12:1 as a reminder. This is probably, I'm not sure if I've quoted it already. If not, get used to it. I love to share this piece of scripture. And so, dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you to give your bodies to God because of all he has done for you. Let them be a living and holy sacrifice, the kind he will find acceptable. This is truly the way to worship him.
Amen.
If you've listened to both episodes, it's almost an hour and it's over an hour's worth of objections. And I can just tell you, being obedient to God's call trumps all of those.
Yeah. And if you have any objections we didn't cover, let's talk about it.
Yeah. Oh, we have social media now.
We have a social media site.
And we have an email.
You guys.
We got
let's talk about that email. I messaged Jason at work this week and I say, Jason, I'm really bummed out here. dreamsmall@gmail.com is already taken. And I tried dreamsmallpodcast@gmail and it's taken. So I created a different one and I say, don't worry, I got this one. And then he messages me and he goes, yeah, I created dreamsmallpodcast@gmail.com.
The day before. I meant to tell her. I just forgot.
How about that communication?
Yeah. And so we're on what's the Instagram?
We're on Instagram. It's Dream Small Podcast on Instagram. That's our tag, our handle. And then we're also on Facebook.
The email is also Dream Small Podcast on, sorry, not Twitter, X. I still call it Twitter because that's what it'll always be. It is Dream Small Show. So look up at Dream Small Show if you're on Twitter.
All right, you guys, that's a wrap. So thank you for joining us today. And I just want to encourage you to keep dreaming small.
Thanks so much for listening. We are so grateful for your support. If you enjoyed this episode, would you please take a moment to follow or subscribe to the podcast? And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, a quick rating or review goes a long way in helping others who find the show. If someone came to mind while you were listening, would you please consider sharing this episode with them? Thanks again, and remember, dream small.